We've already carried out our primary assignment, we've carried out our due diligence before we embark on this decision. And therefore, I don't think that anything that my learned friend just submits now that will be denied, we are going to be denied. Right? I don't think that will come in, that will come to play. And it's laughable to say, this is laughable for him to have say that. Right. Because if we agree and we are taking note of that NBA is an association, therefore any other association will stand irrespective of what may come after.
All right. Raymond Nkanebe and Mohamed Abubakar, thank you both for sharing with us on the program this evening. Looking forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you very much.
And thank you for staying with us. We'll take a short break now, and when we return, I'll be giving my take. We'll be right back. My take this evening on the program is going to be coming mostly from the discussion we were meant to have with Professor Wole Soyinka, but I'll go ahead. On the 1st of August in 2018, the Minister of Water Resources, Suleiman Adamu, stated that access of Nigerians to pipe-borne water has dropped from 32% in 1990 to 7% in 2015, adding that about 71% of Nigerians have no access to quality water sanitation. He also said that only 69% of the people who have access to improved water supply in Nigeria. 69%. Since 2018, it doesn't seem like much has improved with those figures. Water has, for the last few decades, become one of those items Nigerians provide for themselves. From those who can afford to drill a borehole in their homes, to the popular Meruwa, who are popular in certain areas across the country, supplying water in as many as 12 gallons at a time. They are pretty popular in urban and rural areas, on the average 60 to 100 naira for a full gallon of water. That is the reality of millions of Nigerians. What else is left for the government to provide? Nigerians really have gotten used to providing everything for themselves, from electricity to education, healthcare, and now water. Most of what we call basic amenities are all self- and citizen-funded. To make all of this worse, the world currently is going through a pandemic that has caused untold hardship on countless number of people, including Nigerian citizens. Countries aside Nigeria, provided necessary palliatives, sometimes through cash transfers to their citizens, to help ease the economic crisis caused by the pandemic. Some nations cancelled loan payments or extended repayment dates. Some provided free or reduced charges on basic items. Some offered tax relief to businesses, funded virtual learning for public schools, and so much more, all in a bid to make the last few months easier for their citizens. The Nigerian government can't be said to have in many ways really made things easier for citizens. My biggest worry is how certain bills go through a National Assembly that is meant to be fully speaking the voice of the people. How do they get through two readings, even with the outrage across the country? Who then is the National Assembly speaking for? How does the National Assembly get feedback on the views and emotions of the Nigerian people they represent? Nigerians need to feel a sense of security with those speaking on their behalf in the National Assembly. And that's my take. Thank you for joining us tonight. Plus Politics returns tomorrow, same time. Have a great evening. My name is Osaogi Ogbonwa.
When I heard him, I didn't know he was a sickler until last year. Though at birth, from birth till like age 2, he was always getting sick, always leg pain, my hand and everything. We did a genotype test, then they told us to say AA. So we didn't even think it was sickle cell anemia. So once it clocked 2, he stopped having crisis. So we continued like that until last year. He was amidst exam. It was during the exam he now started serious, couldn't breathe properly again. Though naturally he's always been on the, no matter what he eats, he doesn't add weight. But for him, I knew from birth that he was a sickler.
Some of my own experience are the hand pain. The hand pain, I've never experienced the hand pain. I only experienced it once after all the pains were gone. But the chest thing was the first I started experiencing.
When there is a deformity in this oxygen carrying capacity of the blood, that is, there is a deformity in the red blood cells. This oxygen capacity, carrying capacity, it becomes abnormal. It can no longer hold. Now, what we call sickling, that word sickle cell comes from sickling of the red blood cells. The red blood cell is biconcave, and when it is now sickled, its corpse is sickled. You know, like a sickle. That means the capacity, the ability to carry oxygen is reduced.
There are a lot of challenges, but I will go with, growing up having sickle cell is one of the most difficult things ever. And I believe also that surviving sickle cell is dependent on how the warrior has been treated.
Living with it in your school days, you have to know how to survive. Sometimes you miss classes, you miss exams because you're having a crisis. Sometimes you have to, the relationship between your family and friends becomes, there's this strain, especially if you don't have a patient family, that really understand what sickle cell is.
I was exposed to a lot of medications, a lot of treatments, a lot of prayer houses, a lot of deliverance sessions. So, being a child, you have no option. You just have to go with whatever your parents say.
Whenever any person has had sickle cell and there is manifestation, then what we can do is to now treat or prevent them from having crisis. There is one thing to have sickle cell, another thing is to have crisis from the sickle cell. This crisis is derived oxygen to the blood cells.
Malaria is something that actually brings my own crisis and blood infection, the usual typhoid that they call. If it starts with my limbs, I know malaria is around the corner. But if it starts with my vertebral column, I know that this could be blood infection.
What makes me know that, okay, probably I'm going into crisis is that I start feeling a bit tired, a bit weak. Then I start feeling these pinches, on my body. I started having crisis even before we knew it was sickle cell. So I've been living with I'm 35 now. So let me say for 35 years.
There are times I don't go to work for like a month, sometimes 2 months, as long as the crisis lasts. But thank God for the kind of people I work with. They tend to understand with me. It's financially burdensome. Your work, if you don't have good people working with you, it affects that too. And some people, there are some instances where you lose a job.
I won't say it has been easy for with the siblings and him as well. Most times when we are on break and we get to witness him during the crisis, it is always heartbreaking and a tough one to see it.